How many spells can you cast in one turn? We're talking about D&D of course, and in 5th edition, apparently the answer isn't so clear-cut. So let's settle this once and for all. Welcome to the Wintry Wyvern. Today we're finding out how many spells could one character cast in one turn. Well, let's set some ground rules. We're using the strict definition of cast a spell from the PHB, which means no 10-minute casting times, no cheeky contingencies or glyphs of warding, which would make the answer nearly infinite. No magic items, no boons or charms, no simulacrums, no homebrew, no unearthed arcana, no help from the party. One spellcaster, one turn, 6 seconds. You're welcome to take any race, class levels, feats, or spells you think you might need, and you can have things to target if you need things to target. And before you say it, twin spell only counts as one spell. It's the same spell, but spread out. I'll give you a second. I know some people still have no idea what I'm talking about, and some of you think you already know the answer. So if you're so confident, comment your answer down below and find out if you're right afterwards. While you're doing that, today's sponsor is Steinhardt's Guide to the Eldritch Hunt. The ad's at the end of the video, which I had a lot of fun making, so please watch till the end. Right now the project's this much funded, which is crazy, so don't miss out. Ready? Alright. To cast a spell in D&D, you look to its casting time. Every spell has their own casting time, whether it be hours, minutes, or even a fraction of a second, which is instantaneous. And if we're talking about one turn, then we gotta break down what constitutes a turn. On any player's turn, they're allowed one action, one bonus action, one reaction, and one object interaction. There aren't any spells that have a casting time of an object interaction, and we're not using glyphs or contingencies, so we can cross that out. The great majority of spells have a casting time of one action. So with one action, we can cast one spell. Is there room for more? Sure, why don't we use Action Surge? That's a second level fighter ability that lets us use an additional action on our turn. So let's use that to cast a second spell, something like Fireball, Action Surge, Fireball. Looks good. Now some of you are already saying, but wait, how are you casting two spells on the same turn? Turns out there's no rules against it. Nowhere in any source book will you see limits on how many spells you can cast in one turn, because the limits are already set by your action economy, which are the parts of a turn we just talked about. Using these slots wisely will let you cast more spells. There are rules to what kinds of spells you can cast, but no upper limit on how many. What else can you do? Well, what about reactions? Reactions are instant responses to triggers of some kind that usually occur on other people's turns, but can also occur on yours. Reactions can happen on any turn, even your own. Say for example, someone tries to counterspell that fireball. Well, you can counterspell their counterspell. This exact interaction is mentioned and affirmed in the Sage Advice Compendium. So, if you fireball, counterspell, and action surge fireball again, that's 3 spells in the turn. In theory, you could even fireball yourself, cast absorb elements in reaction to the fire damage, and then action surge fireball somebody else. So that's 3 spells. Is there room for a 4th? Well, we're out of action surges and reactions, so that leaves bonus actions. There are a small handful of bonus action spells to choose from. Are there any rules to it? Yes, there's exactly one, and this one rule has confused many players in the past half-decade, so let's dive in. A spell cast with a bonus action is especially swift. You must use a bonus action on your turn to cast a spell, provided that you haven't already taken a bonus action this turn. You can't cast another spell during the same turn, except for a cantrip with a casting time of 1 action. This is the only major restriction to what spells can be cast in the same turn. If you cast a spell on your turn as a bonus action, no other spells can be cast except for a cantrip with a casting time of 1 action. And here lies the confusion. You might be thinking, so you're saying I can cast 3 third level spells in one turn, but if I cast anything as a bonus action, even a cantrip, there's limits placed on everything else? Well, yeah, exactly that. It seems counterintuitive, and I don't blame you, it kind of is. So let's break down what we can do. 1, spells can be cast as a bonus action, we know that. But does the order matter? Can we cast other spells before or after the bonus action spell? And does the phrase a cantrip mean just 1 cantrip? Luckily for us, the book Xanathar's Guide to Everything gives us some clarity. In the 10 Rules to Remember section, right at the start of the book, they have a paragraph called Bonus Action Spells. It reads, if you want to cast a spell that has a casting time of 1 bonus action, remember that you can't cast any other spells before or after it on the same turn, except for cantrips with a casting time of 1 action. This sentence, although very similar, has some key clarifications. Firstly, the order of spellcasting doesn't matter. As long as any spell is cast as a bonus action on the turn, the rest have to be cantrips. Instead of saying a cantrip, however, this statement clarifies the ruling to cantrips, permitting more than one. Alright, that's some wiggle room. If we want to cast 4 spells in one turn, all we have to do is make sure every other spell is a cantrip with a casting time of 1 action. Easy enough, let's just cast any bonus action spell, a cantrip like Firebolt as an action, and then again cast Firebolt with Action Surge. And now for our final roadblock. How do we cast a cantrip as a reaction? There are no reaction cantrips by default in D&D, and somehow it needs a casting time of 1 action. Some of you already know the answer. Enter the Warcaster feat. The third bullet point reads, when a hostile creature's movement provokes an opportunity attack from you, you can use your reaction to cast a spell at the creature, rather than making an opportunity attack. The spell must have a casting time of 1 action and must target only that creature. Okay, well there you go. As long as an enemy triggers an opportunity attack, you can instead cast a spell that typically has a casting time of 1 action as a reaction. Well, that's perfect. We can slot in an action casting time cantrip as a reaction, building our 4th and final spell for the turn. Unfortunately, it's unlikely that an enemy will be able to leave our range on our turn, triggering this op attack. Thankfully, we've got a little trick for that. The first level spell Dissonant Whispers forces an enemy to run away from you, letting you take an opportunity attack as they leave, or with Warcaster, fire a cantrip. So a 4 spell turn could look something like this. You're a 4th level sorcerer with 2 levels of fighter and 1 level bard. You took Warcaster as your 4th level feat, you get the spell Dissonant Whispers from your 1 level bard, and taking the quickened spell metamagic lets us cast it as a bonus action, and we'll do just that. We cast Dissonant Whispers as a quickened spell bonus action, and if the target runs away, we cast the Booming Blade cantrip as a reaction opportunity attack. The target takes some bonus damage from Booming Blade because they moved, and as they run away, we can action cast the Firebolt cantrip, which makes 3 spells, and with Action Surge we can cast Firebolt again, completing the 4 spell turn. And there it is, proof that without a shadow of a doubt, the maximum spells you can cast in 1 turn is 4. But is it? It might surprise you that it could in fact be 5. Enter the Sorcerer subclass Wild Magic. When you cast a spell, your DM can force you to roll on a Wild Magic table. Out of 100 possibilities on this table, 18 of them can make you cast a spell immediately, spending no action, no bonus action, and no reaction. It's entirely free. So that's the verdict. You can reliably always cast 1 or 2 spells in the turn, 3 spells with the right build, 4 spells conditionally, and 5 spells at an 18% chance with DM intervention. Is it optimal? Absolutely not. But is it possible? Sure is. The one thing I want you to take away from this is that there are no limits to how many spells you can cast in a turn beyond your action economy. There is only one limit on what kind of spells you can cast together, which refers to only bonus actions. Did you get it right? Let me know in the comments below. And send this video to anyone who gets confused at your table. I'll be rolling the ad now, so may your magic always be wild, your actions always economic, and above all, stay frosty. Your numbers grow and grow. All are welcome in Liana, of course, our city of healing and prosperity. Please bring your friends, your allies, your armies. No door is closed to the adventurous. Do you search for triumph? Do you aim for valor? Or perhaps simply closure? Your purpose matters not. Just your presence means everything. So come, weary heroes, and rest your bones among your brothers. We wait with bated breath, with arms open wide and eyes wide open. Steinhardt's Guide to the Eldritch Hunt continues to be a breakout success. With 9,000 backers pledged and over $1 million raised, it looks to be one of the biggest D&D projects of the entire year. It holds dozens of monsters, weapons, classes, races, a whole new madness system from the ground up, and 4 original adventures written for the grimdark Souls-like setting of Liarna. Will you save the city, or barely save yourself? Check out the project for yourself in the description below. Have a good one.